So, what is a central force? In classical mechanics, a central force is on an object is a force that is directed along the line joining the object and origin. So, there are many things that we are going to discuss in details in this lecture. That is how the line joining is associated to object and the force. Just all this term could be written as the force F is f of r along unit vector r. Okay, f of r is a scalar value force function. Okay, so we will see how the things work out. I can write this definition in this way too. It is a force which is derivable from a scalar function u of r. And how can I derive this force? I can say that f of r is a negative gradient of that scalar function, and r here and here represents the position. Okay, so this was the basic overview, basic definition of a scalar function. But this I have written in 3 dimensions. For 1 dimension, we can write f is equal to minus du by dr. Central force might be confined to some specific dimensions, or it might be specified to whole of the space. The central force might be confined to some specific dimension, or it might be confined to whole space. So we can say that the central force might be confined to just one specific dimension or 2 dimensions, or it might be confined to whole of the space. 2 examples of central forces. Let us say one of them is gravitational force and one of them is spring constant force. So let us consider 2 examples. One is spring force Fs and the other one is gravitational force. Let us consider a body of mass m which is attached to a spring. This system is called spring mass system, and right now it is an equilibrium. It is at an equilibrium position x equals 0. So let us say this is positive x is positive direction, and this is origin, and this is negative x direction. Okay, so if I extend this mass under the action of restoring force, it will go back to its mean position. Due to the inertia, it will go to other extreme and it will keep oscillating. Remember, I have considered this surface to be frictionless, both this surface and this mass m to be frictionless, so that there is no dissipative force, no dissipative forces are involved here. So I can write this, and I can describe this system by saying f is equal to f vector is equal to minus k x. Here negative sign represents that the force is always opposite to the displacement. So if you are going towards the right side of the mean position, then f is equal to minus kx, and if you are going towards the left side of the mean position, then f is equal to minus time minus kx gives us plus kx. So this is Hooke's law. Hooke's law, and it describes the force that acts on this mass. The potential energy stored in mass m is given by 1 by 2 k x square. So du by dx is equal to kx. This implies that minus du by dx is equal to minus kx, which implies that minus du by dx is equal to fs. That is, we have derived the spring force by use from a scalar potential u. Positive y, and if we go down, this will be negative y. The gravitational force according to Newton, Fg is equal to g mass of earth, mass of object divided by radius of earth square. But this gm divided by r square is a small g, that is gravitational acceleration. So we have Fg is equal to mg. Okay, the potential energy U, gravitational potential energy, could be written as mg y, or du by dy is equal to mg. This implies that minus du by dy is equal to minus mg, which is minus du by dy is equal to gravitational force. Now, look at these two equations. F of s is equal to minus kx, or Fg is equal to gm1, g mass of earth, mass of object divided by r square. This equation shows that if r is equal to infinity, then gravitational force is equal to 0. Otherwise, the gravitational force does not become 0. That is why it is called a long range force. It means that gravitational force exists everywhere in the universe. We sometimes hear people saying that zero gravity, an astronaut was at zero gravity. So technically speaking or theoretically speaking, this is a wrong thing to say that the zero gravity exists. Everywhere in the universe, every object has a gravitational force, though with distance it reduces significantly. With mass, with the small masses, its effect is very less. I mean, the force between me and this board or this pen is very small because of this gravitational constant g, but it is here, it exists here, and it affects everything. So everywhere in universe the gravitational force exists because the distance is not infinite. So the concept of zero gravity is wrong. There is always a gravitational force. So I said that the central force might be confined to some specific dimension, or it might be confined to some whole space. Now look at this system. In this system, the force is only confined to the displacement you travel from mean position, and at mean position this force becomes 0. But on the other hand, look at the gravitational force. It is everywhere in the space. Furthermore, we have been able to derive this force from a scalar potential and this force from a scalar potential. So a question that comes into our mind is this the conservative force? Because the forces that we are able to derive from a scalar potential, we have used to call them conservative forces. Yes, both these fields are conservative and both these forces are conservative, but a central force may or may not be conservative force. Moreover, for a central force, the potential energy is always is a function of position, is a function of a scalar distance from a fixed point. You can see in both the examples that I have given you a few minutes back that potential energy depends on x, that is its most position from mean position, and mean position is always the source of force, and the other one is gravitational force. Let's say this is the center of the so potential energy is a function of u is equal to mg, u is equal to mg y. So we can see clearly in both the examples that potential energy depends on position, and the position, the potential energy depends on distance from a fixed point, from a certain fixed point, from a certain fixed point. This fixed point is the source of force field, and this fixed point, the fixed point is the source of force field. Remember, in definition we said that the force acts along the line joining with the origin. That fixed point usually is called the origin, and the force is always directed toward this force is always directed towards or away from fixed point. Let us call this origin. So the central force is always directed towards or away from the fixed point. Let us take an interesting example. Let's say this is sun and this is earth. So the earth is revolving around the sun. Even though the path is elliptical, but let us consider it to be circular, or this is rather a bit circle, but still the force acting on earth from any point is always directed towards the sun. So central force, but this is gravitational force. It could be derived from a potential, and the potential energy depends on the scalar distance r. So this is a central force involved here. Another example is if you tie a stone to a string and hold it in your hand and rotate it. Now in this case, the force is also directed towards mean position, towards your hand, but the force is not central force, because in this case you cannot derive the potential energy from a scalar function. Okay. Similarly, one thing that we must keep in our mind is all these forces, all these examples that I give, the example of gravitational force, or the example of spring mesh system, or you can use electrostatic force in this example, but we have to consider the ideal situation where the dissipative forces are not present. Dissipative forces are not forces. For example, frictional force, drag force etc should not be present. Okay, so then one more thing, it is more easy to derive to use spherical coordinates when dealing with central force than the Cartesian coordinates. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to discuss reduction of two body problem, two bodies system to one body system by using central force. Okay.